when I walked across America, I posted on social media that anyone could walk with me. I said, if you find me, you can walk with me. And people came from all over the United States. Sometimes they drove 8-9 hours. And when they came, I always asked them one question, which was, if I pray for you, what should I pray for? Usually I got back like a one-word answer. Success, love, happiness, this kind of thing. One time I met this 21-year-old named Rowan on the Wallapai Reservation. And I asked him that question. He looked at me. He said, Mike, 5 years ago, my father died from drinking. And 3 years ago, my only sibling, my big brother, died from drinking. And just 3 months ago, my mom died from drinking. He said, if you pray for me, pray for my sobriety, because I'm the only one left. So, dude, I walked like across New Jersey. I walked across Pennsylvania, where I shared the road with Amish buggies. I walked in Ohio, and it started to hurt like really bad. It was way worse than I thought it would be. Way worse. But I kept going. I walked across Indiana and Illinois. I walked across Missouri during a heat wave, and it was floods. I walked across Kansas. I walked into Colorado. I could just see the Rocky Mountains on the horizon. I had walked 1,797 miles. And I was taking a step, and there's two fans with me that day, and ow! This pain like shot up my left leg. And after the pain, I heard a sound I didn't want to hear, and that was shh. I thought, like, fuck, man, like, I just got bit by a rattlesnake. And I was like, man, you're supposed to rattle first, my dude. Like, he flipped it on me. If you would, it's supposed to rattle, and then I stay away. But there's two ways to get bit by a snake. One is to be screwing around with it. The other is to surprise it. So I surprised it. I didn't see it. It didn't see me, and it was just being a snake. I was sitting there, and there were two men that came to walk with me that day. And they started all kind of like freak out a little bit. And, the bite hurt. The actual bite of the bite hurt. But it didn't hurt worse than the rest of my body. So I was like used to being in pain at this point. So I was like joking around, and, they're trying to call 911. We didn't have service. So they're like running. They find like a bar, and they call 911. Meanwhile, I start to kind of like fade away. It's just sort of darkness coming in from the edges of my awareness. And I would leave, and I would kind of like wake back up. It happened a couple of times, and they let me talk to 911, and I asked, am I going to die? And the voice on the other end of the phone said, I don't know, sir. And she said, I've sent 2 ambulances from 2 different directions and a chopper, whichever one gets there first, get in. And at this point, I'm realizing like that, this isn't a bee sting. I'm in the middle of nowhere, and this could be the end of my life. And I just decided, eventually what actually got there first was the ambulance. I made the decision, hey, if this, hopefully it isn't, but if it is, the last few hours of my life, Yeah, I don't want to spend the last few hours of my life worrying about if this is the last few hours of my life. So I'm just going to enjoy my last few hours. And I felt an immense amount of peace in the back of that ambulance. And I was just, doing what we were doing before the podcast, only looking at the red paint on the wall of the ambulance door and going, wow, this, might be the last time I see red, and kind of like lush that color is, and just enjoying being alive, which is what we should always be doing, right? I get to the hospital and I spent 3 nights in the ICU. My legs swelled to the size of an elephant trunk.
Holy shit.
And I went from walking 24 miles a day to not being able to walk to the bathroom, They sent me home to heal. I had a walker and then eventually crutches. And after a lot of PT and rest, like, a funny thing happened, André, is I got better. But here's the hardest part of the snake bite is I'm sitting at home now in air conditioning. The rest of my body actually feels a lot better besides the messed up leg, because like I was in pain, man. People are taking care of me, cooking for me. And let's be real, I'm getting an insane amount of attention, not only from my friends and family, but from like the world in general. I'm on the news. My heroes are John Mayer's DMing me, feel better soon, bro. Like David Goggins is writing me. Like all these people I looked up to, either musically or whatever, they're all writing to me. So I'm getting all this attention for being hurt. And so there's a part of my psyche that's going, hey, when you're hurt, you get more love. And so that part of my psyche didn't want to get better. You want to stay hurt so you could keep getting the love. So the hardest part of the snake bite was realizing, dude, I got a decision to make. I could either A, go home to my life of fame and luxury and Uber Eats and looking in the mirror feeling like there's got to be more. Or I can B, like, go back to the blistering foot pain, the sweltering heat, the sides of the roads where the semi trucks almost hit me every single day. This path like really sucked and it hurt a lot, but it taught me the difference between reasons and excuses. And like when it comes to things I care about, my reasons to quit are always just excuses in disguise. And it's like, dude, this was the best reason to quit of all time. It was like such a good reason to quit that if I did quit, no one would even consider me a quitter. But I wasn't doing it for most people. And so I'm a little different. Like most of us, we visualize, we do use the law of attraction. We see ourselves being successful. And I do that. Like 1,000 times I saw myself getting into that ocean on the other side. That's important. But I also visualize how am I going to react when things go wrong. Because you try to walk 3,000 miles across America, something's going to go wrong. And if you're not prepared for that mentally, you'll quit. And if you think like, oh, this thing's going wrong because my law of attraction practice was, it's like, dude, no, like, let's be real. You have a vision of the future. You can see yourself doing it, but like, this shit's going to be hard. Something's going to get fucked up. Like, that's the whole reason you want to go, is to deal with that. And so I rehearsed not only myself getting in the ocean, but I rehearsed, like, I remember before I started, I said, if I break my leg, man, what am I going to do? And I saw myself just like healing my leg and then going back to the spot where I got hurt and finishing. And so I didn't break my leg. I got bit by a snake. But that rehearsal and that muscle I had started to build was stronger than that part of my psyche that wanted to stay hurt to get attention. And so for me, like this is a fucking crossroads. You know, it's like I'm either going to go back and be this like shell of myself, shell of my potential, or am I actually going to become somebody I'm proud of? And I decided to go back to the exact spot that snake bit me, and I took a step, man. And it was hard. Like, I was scared. I still have nightmares about snakes this fucking day, bro. Like, but it's like, who does this? Like, who would even think to do this? And so while people may not understand, like, why I would ever even start this journey, maybe they look at me like, some people, even my friends, you know, I say like, dude, like, why are you doing this to yourself? Like, you don't get it. I did this for myself. And they'll never understand what it's like to put yourself in a position that's so far out of your comfort zone. Face death. And decide to keep going. I walked 1,000 more miles, and on October 18th, 2019, I dove face first in the Pacific Ocean.